Oops journey of leaving her abusive husband. 7 posts.
I'm not the oop. This was posted by I'm not a Russian spy in various subreddits mentioned. TW. Abusive spouse. Infidelity. PTSD. Less than. Mood spoiler. Hopeful. Less than. Post 1. The 28th of March 22 on our marriage advice. Husband and I had an argument on Wednesday. He blocked me Thursday morning. It's Sunday, I haven't heard from him since. Should I give him space? How long should I wait? TLDR at the end. We argue sometimes like most couples do. We know each other well, come together and figure it out on our own. What made this different was his mother happened to be present in the room next door. Other than that, it was pretty standard. The cause, etc. Not what was said. I guess I should give some context to understand her POV better. My husband was under a much higher level of stress in the past 2 weeks. I know this, so I would let a lot of his bothersome behavior slide. E.g., misplaced blame about him not ordering the pizza on time. It was too late and he went off on me. Apologized in about 10 minutes. E.g. 2. We were supposed to go to a dinner to a friend's. He got home tired and decided he was too late for him to go. Which was okay. I asked if I should make him some dinner then. He went off on me that his sleep medication can't be taken with food. He said he was hungry but can't eat. Asked me to leave him alone. So I left to my brother's house. 10 minutes into my drive he started demanding food. I decided to not respond in a rude way. I said okay, turned my car around and went back to cook for him. I'm giving him a break because he's going through a tough time with his business partners. Things like this would happen throughout about 2 weeks. Until Wednesday night he got mad at me about an appointment I scheduled for him that he wanted me to schedule for him. I gave him estimated pricing. We couldn't know exactly what we'd be paying until he was seen, but it ended up being a lot more than we both expected, and a lot more than the estimate they initially gave me. He was mad at me for this and blamed me. Argument started to go off topic and he said something unacceptable. For the record, there has never been any physical abuse in our relationship, nor was I ever afraid of him hitting me. The words he said were, "I'm gonna smash your head through the floor." He didn't yell this, so his mother didn't hear him. I repeated it back to him, because it's a crazy thing to say and I wanted him to understand what he just said, so I said. I was loud. I was mad. But I was not yelling on the top of my throat. Smash my head through the floor. His mother started to knock and ask that I leave. I was already on my way out. I didn't want to continue engaging. I didn't say anything to his mother. Walked out and drove to a family member's house. He continued texting me saying I was provoking him to hit me, which would ruin his life. His mother's concern was the same and she told him she worked with these cases all her life and I will call the cops and he will be arrested because men are arrested, no questions asked. But all I did was repeat what he had said to me. I know that had she not intervened, we would settle this in our own. But I came home later that night and he told me I couldn't sleep in bed with him. I said I didn't realize I need permission to be in my own bed. I was incredibly hurt but went to the couch and eventually fell asleep. Thursday morning I left to work quietly. I get a message from him saying I pissed his mom off. He's not close with her usually and they don't have the creepy mama's boy relationship, so this was out of the blue for him. He said I was provoking him. He needs space from me. Also said he needs me out 'cause I disrespected his mom. I came home from work. Front door was locked. I walk in from the back and most of the stuff is packed in boxes and suitcases. He says he's rushing to go to work and doesn't want to see my face right now. Passes me a message along through his mother and asks that I leave until he's gone. His mother and I leave and talk for a while. She started very cold and offensive, but upon hearing my side out, seemed to understand and asked that I just give him space and that I go stay with my brother or go see my parents in another state for a week. He texted her and said he was not looking for a divorce. That's all she told me. I came home, packed a small suitcase and got my ticket to visit my parents. She said to just leave my stuff where they're at and they'll be safe. It's Sunday. I know he's okay, since he's active on his Instagram dog page. He has a pretty big following and loves his dog, and the breed our stud is in the business with. Famous kennels. I'm still blocked. I can't get a message out to him since. I don't know what to think. I feel like it's been long enough for a husband and wife to go without a word. I'm not entirely sure what I'm asking. Just seeking advice, I guess? TLDR. Had an argument with husband on Wednesday night. Seemingly common argument, but his mother intervened and I feel that that's what made it worse. He blocked me Thursday morning and I came home to packed bags. I spoke to his mother and we're okay. She asked that I just take a break and visit my family for a week. I'm in another state. Haven't heard from him since Thursday. He told his mom he's not looking for a divorce. I don't know what to think. Post 2. The 3rd of April 22 on our Christian marriage. Should I stay in this marriage or file for divorce? I am 26F. Married to 34 meters for 1.5 years. Husband has been very emotionally and mentally abusive throughout the marriage. Especially when he is stressed or worried about issues outside of the marriage. We never really had any issues within our marriage, only when there is an outside factor he is stressed about, e.g. his up-and-coming business, work, etc. He will blow up on me and it will go from there. He calls me all sorts of names, curses at me, belittles me, etc. His actions show he cares little about me. In the last 2 weeks he again was very stressed due to some issues with the timeline of his business opening up, and he was on edge a lot. He would blame me for things that had nothing to do with me. And I tried to keep it civil and peaceful the entire time. Until last Wednesday, when he once again got really mad at the amount he had to pay for a procedure that he asked me to schedule for him. I told him prices up front, but we couldn't know the exact prices until he was seen. He was told the price and then he proceeded with the procedure. He blew up on me after we left the office. I wrote about this in another subreddit, it is on my page if you're interested. But pretty much I left to stop arguing. He blocked my number after that argument. He packed me stuff and pretty much kicked me out. I took some stuff and went to visit my family in another state. After about 45 days he finally unblocked me and said he is going through a lot with his business partners and needs space. He needs his room to himself. I texted him today saying that needing space is okay, that he went about it all wrong, basically leaving me on the street. We live in a rental. My name is not on the lease as he lived there prior to me moving in. I stayed calm, but he was angry, so I believe he was perceiving my texts the same way. We didn't get anywhere. I said I was coming back and I have nowhere to stay. He says I'm a big girl, I have a job and can take care of myself. I also told him his mother should not have intervened and that we know our relationship like no other. A third party will complicate things. He said, "Watch your tongue talking about my mother," and then he blocked me again. I have a ticket back tomorrow. I have to get back to work, but I literally have no place to stay. I tried to find a rental, but it's a process and I had no luck within a week being away. I think kicking me out to the street is not acceptable. It's inhumane and I would have never done that under any circumstances. Is my marriage over? I think it is. I'm curious as to what Christians would advise me to do. I'm so embarrassed. Post 3. The 18th of June 22 on our legal advice. Can I get a divorce in California without a lawyer? Can someone please help me? I don't have much money. My need to divorce my cheating, abusive husband. It's been a long time coming. I'm 26F. We don't own anything together. We've been married for 1.5 years. No joint accounts. How do I go about this? Edit. Are the websites on Google legit? Like Online Divorce and California Divorce. Post 4. The 19th of June 22 on R. True off my chest. Yesterday I caught my husband cheating on me. When I confronted him, he got angry and asked for a divorce. Not that I would stay with him, but I feel like a weight is lifted off my chest. He was so emotionally abusive and came close to being physically abusive a few times. I know grief comes in waves, but since I found out, I haven't cried. I feel some sadness of the betrayal, but I honestly can't wait for what comes next in life. I went out with a good group of people today and we played softball. And now I'll go sand down a piece of furniture and repaint it. I'm going to be 27 in just a few days. He's almost 35. He cheated on me with a 40-year-old single mom who didn't know he was married. He always said single moms are not someone guys want long-term. SMH. I was a great wife to him. He'll realize it later, I'm sure. I'm afraid of the sadness that awaits me, but hoping I'll pull through. Post 5. The 6th of July 22 on R. True off my chest. Finally getting a divorce from my abusive husband. And I feel as if he is trying to pull me back in. He was texting me all day yesterday, calling me babe like before and telling me how much he loves me. As if we've never broken up. He sent me about 70 messages before I responded and said 2 words. Then he continued to text me another 49 messages. He also said he had PTSD when we got married 2 years ago, but he's 100% healthy now. That was his last message last night that I didn't respond to. I don't know if it deserves a response. Edit. After I made this post, he's sent me about 7 messages saying good morning and how much he loves me. Forever and ever blah blah blah. I hate that I need to be reminded to not go back to him. Post 6. The 7th of July 22 on R. Abusive relationships. About to go file for divorce. As relieved as I feel, I'm really emotional because the last few days my husband has been texting and calling me telling me how much he loves me and how much he misses me. He was not physically abusive. He got close. Very abusive mentally and emotionally. He also threatened to physically hurt me multiple times. He cheated on me about 12 months ago and it has been ongoing until I found out. I miss him too, and getting these messages from him pouring his heart out makes me feel gutted. But I'm leaving work in 2 minutes and going to court. I am very anxious and emotional. Post 7. The 28th of October 22 on R. True off my chest. I woke up with 100 plus text messages and 58 missed calls. And 1 voicemail from my ex-husband that came in between 2:15 a.m. 4 a.m. In his voicemail he said how terrible of a communicator I am because I'm not answering my phone. All this was prompted by me stopping by to grab some of my things from his place. He lives with his mother. I intentionally stopped by when he wasn't there, and she happily let me in to take my things. As I was leaving, I left a note on his bed apologizing and saying that his cheating affected me more than I thought, etc. He was threatening to come over at 3 a.m. to my place. He also said he'd have me arrested if I break in without his knowledge, again. And yes, he is now blocked. Reminder, I'm not the oop.
Ugh, what a piece of trash the ex-husband is.
Good freaking lord. Why do I feel like oop was about 5 seconds from being bashed in the head? I wanted to vomit reading all that.
Classic love bombing. Hope she can be free from him, but it doesn't sound like it's over, unfortunately.
Of course he was in his 30s dating someone in their early 20s when this started. Age gap abuse relationships are predictable at this point. In her comments she says they dated for 2 years and were married for 1.5. So that means she was 22.5 and he was 30.5 when they started dating. Couldn't resist checking the comments in our Christian marriage, it was okay. This man is unhinged. Props to Op for getting out while she could. I don't know how long they knew each other, but the power dynamics of the relationship were so off. Not being on the lease meant he could throw her out and she'd have no claim to the property. I get the feeling that he was hoping that by throwing her out, she'd come crawling back and be a good little wife for him in some Stepford Wives kind of situation. Now she's out and he's realized he can't control her. He went love bomb approach, and when that didn't happen, he's turned to the nasty STBX. I wouldn't be surprised if she updated again about him trying to take everything from her in an attempt to control her. I hope Oop gets a restraining order against this poss! Exclamation mark. If you've ever been on Our Christian Marriage, you'll know all the posts are like this. My husband and I fight like normal couples, but sometimes he punches me really hard in the face. What's a godly way to confront him on this behavior so that we can go back to normal with only slapping? My husband just sold my dog to pay for meth. This isn't biblical grounds for divorce. What should I do? Just don't engage with them. They're ban happy and don't accept outside advice. Oop needs to start a new life in another state and never look back. I am aware it's not so easy to do, but I could offer to drive the getaway vehicle. Sounds like a restraining order would be a very good idea. I'm afraid he might be escalating. Just because he hasn't hit her yet doesn't mean he won't. His threats are terrifying and his actions are completely unbalanced. I also hope that she can find a good therapist and start working on her well-being ASAP. I really hope she is safe. In her first post, when he escalated so irrationally after manufacturing a fight over nothing, I knew he was being unfaithful and was trying to create a reason why they should break up. And he was justified to have an affair. He continued texting me saying I was provoking him to hit me, which would ruin his life. His mother's concern was the same, and she told him she worked with these cases all her life and I will call the cops and he will be arrested because men are arrested, no questions asked. But all I did was repeat what he had said to me. Anyone else feel like there's a very telling backstory to this belief? I suspect this isn't OOP's husband's first domestic abuse rodeo. I pray everything went well for Oop. Someone unhinged as her ex will definitely see himself lose control and might do something over the line and violent. I hope we get a new update soon. OMG, I could barely read the first post she made. It's so horrible the way she's catering to him. This is grooming people. He groomed her to think this type of arguing is acceptable. She still apologized for getting mad that he cheated. Please get therapy in the next post. Good grief. Start healing. This is so sad. Oh boy. I'm going to ignore the red parade for a minute to focus on something specific. He also said he had PTSD when we got married 2 years ago, but he's 100% healthy now. That's not how that works. Even with therapy, PTSD doesn't go away. You don't heal from it. You just learn how to manage it as much as possible with mental health techniques, therapy and/or medication. And I'm willing to bet this lovely specimen doesn't do therapy, and he's clearly overly aggressive. So even if he isn't lying about the PTSD, he's definitely lying about being healed. Source: every therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist and doctor I've ever talked to about my PTSD. Of course we all know he's probably lying about the PTSD. Last attempt sympathy card. Glad Oop got away from him. I hope she stays away. Post 2, the 3rd of April 22 on our Christian marriage. There it is. Yikes. Run Oop, and don't look back. Oop is still very naive. Should have gone her brother to pick up her stuff from hubby's place. If her husband was there, there's no way of knowing what he would have done. Apparently, things didn't work out for him with the single mom. OMG, that first sub is garbage. The first comment on the first post were about how she should go back and they just need to talk. After he threatened to hit her. One of the comments legit said how he just needed a hug. TBF, many people identified dangerous abusive behavior with high potential of violence but no run. Just leave etc. like you see on AITA. I'm so thankful AITA exists after reading this stuff. She even got the run girl comments on Christian marriage FFS.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.